You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording, and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women. For the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be playing 3 chapters a week of my audiobook from Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions and How Critical Thinking Can Protect Them. So if you find yourself listening in and you're up to chapter 4, by all means, wind it back, go back to chapter 1 because it's a narrative and it has a very strong narrative arc. Hope you enjoy it. See you on the other side. Bye. Chapter 2. Cat is single. You're finally home after sitting in filthy traffic for 70 minutes due to a road upgrade you'd feebly protested against. You spent the entire journey seething with resentment because the idea you expressed in March, which was summarily dismissed, was today regurgitated by Liam from finance and greeted with table-thumping enthusiasm. You dump your keys on the hall table and come face to face with the hipster's Deepak Chopra poster. Gratitude opens the door to the power, the wisdom, the creativity of the universe. You're experiencing difficulty finding your gratitude right now. You're grumpy, tired, want a drink, and someone finished the bottle of wine from last night. You gave up on dry July, dry February, and dry May, and your 2 alcohol-free nights a week have diminished to 1 a month. You spend a good 5 minutes rifling through the pantry looking for the ancient bottle of sherry and railing about the finished wine before you remember it was you who finished it. This shouldn't have been a difficult conclusion to reach. You live alone. So you're standing in front of the fridge with your handbag still over your shoulder, scrounging for food. You find an old rind of cheddar and some 5-day-old rocket. You contemplate making a salad niçoise, but you're missing tomatoes, tuna, eggs, olives, and anchovies. You open a can of chickpeas. You're pretty sure they're a superfood. You can have them with a sliver of cheddar. You go to the bedroom where you divest yourself of your handbag and return to find the cat on the counter insouciantly eating the rind. She's not even your cat. She's the hipster's cat, which he took when he left 6 weeks ago, but in some feat of cat echolocation and endurance she has returned to you. You'd come home to find her sitting on the window ledge outside, one paw on the glass.
What?
You'd said.
What? You don't live here anymore. Go home.
She had sat there for 6 hours, staring at you, not even meowing. You'd found her imperious as opposed to plaintive, which irritated you. You tapped on the glass and made shooing noises. You drank a glass of wine in front of her while asking if she knew why the hipster had left. You'd briefly wept while pressing your hand up to the window near her paw. You'd told her you'd recently developed an allergy to cats. She was impervious. You'd contemplated returning her, but this would require making a phone call to the hipster, during which you'd suspected you'd come across more Pauline Hanson than Jennifer Lawrence. Finally, you'd found the disloyalty of the cat satisfying. You'd opened the window. You tip the can of chickpeas onto a plate you've dug out of the dirty dishes in the sink and sit on the couch. The cat looks at you.
You're eating the cheese.
You say.
Leave me to my chickpeas.
The cat meows. This triggers a desperate desire to hear the hipster's voice. You open Facebook to distract yourself. The first post you see features the inspirational words of Thobra Khan, splayed over an unlikely sunlit field of lavender, stating that what you resist in your partner is a reflection of yourself. Do not resist. There are no accidents, no happenstance. Accept what the universe has planned for you and seek the lesson. You are irritated by the capricious use of capital letters, but decide to go with the premise. Okay, you think. Resistance is out, acceptance is in. You close the computer so you can fully contemplate this notion of acceptance. You stare in a meaningful way out the window. Okay, acceptance. The hipster has left, but his cat is here. What is the lesson being offered by the universe? Must you accept the cat? Does this make the cat the hipster's proxy? Does this mean that what you're resisting in the cat is actually yourself? The cat looks levelly at you, chewing the last of the cheddar with her sharp little teeth. Are you meant to see yourself reflected in the cat? The cat has resting cat face. Admittedly, the cat doesn't have a lot of facial options available to her. Still, you hate her. That can't be good. You reopen your computer, go straight to the hipster's Facebook page, and there he is, smiling at you with his immaculately trimmed hipster beard. With a woman. Feeling a strange urge like that of a casual passerby drawn to look at the scene of a horrific accident, you zoom in on their faces until the awful truth reveals itself. The woman next to him is Rebecca from the real estate. They are at your favourite restaurant, not eating chickpeas from a can. They are both looking in an adorable manner at the camera. You can't be sure, but she appears to be wearing a dress from your wardrobe. She probably stole it along with the hipster. You feel dizzy with self-pity. You pick up your phone. You have to ring him, the low-life rat-fink. Do not ring him. It will achieve nothing. You close your computer. How could he do this to you? Also, where did the phrase low-life rat-fink come from? It sounds like a 60s cartoon mouse villain. Your thumb hovers over his number. You put down the phone. You reopen your computer, zoom back in on Rebecca from the real estate. She is thin. The hipster likes his women thin. You had struggled to stay thin enough for him. The cat has done you a favour eating the cheese. 100 calories you won't be eating. Rebecca from the real estate doesn't know about the cat. The flat doesn't allow pets. Perhaps you could go down to the restaurant with the cat, hold her aloft and say, "He lied to you. He owns a cat." That'd kill the relationship stone dead. Or maybe it wouldn't. You wonder if Rebecca from the real estate has accepted that he still has his baby teeth. His adult teeth having never usurped the baby teeth's position. In this picture, however, his mouth is firmly shut, and she is planting a kiss on his bearded cheek, which is in close proximity to his teeth, proof she mustn't be put off by them. She has accepted his teeth. Good. Wait till she spent 13 months, 2 weeks and 6 days watching him eat with his tiny teeth. Let's see how she likes that. The cat still sitting on the counter is now licking one paw. You realise it was your looking at the cat's sharp little incisors that reminded you of your ex-partner's teeth. You wonder at the pointlessness of your thought process. You wonder at your life generally. You felt you haven't given enough contemplation to this acceptance-resistance business. You close your computer, put your right hand on your chest, feel the hammering of your heart. What exactly should you be accepting? Rebecca from the real estate's duplicity, Liam from finance purloining your idea, the hipsters lying and philandering, the fact that after all you endured and rationalised, it was he who left, the fact that you're 33 and eating chickpeas alone with someone else's cat. What is the lesson the universe has planned for you? There seem to be so many options. You give the chickpeas a desultory stir on the coffee table in front of you and think, get a grip on yourself, cat. You do not need a man to be a whole person. You are a strong, independent woman with a good job and the stewardship of someone else's cat. You will develop a hobby, diversify your interests. You wonder if Rebecca from the real estate has a hobby. You reopen your computer and like a bloodhound on the scent of a wild boar, you find your way to Rebecca from the real estate's Facebook page. Her top post is a mythical-looking woman in a diaphanous dress atop a unicorn. The caption reads, "The universe wants to give you what you want. Dream big. You just have to ask." Clearly, Rebecca from the real estate asked for the hipster. Well, you're going to ask for him back. Two can play at that game. You close your computer, put the uneaten chickpeas back in the fridge and go down the 3 flights of stairs to the garden. You find the gratitude meditation cushion lying forlornly underneath a grevillea. In a rare moment of anger, you'd thrown it at him. It missed him and went out the window. Like in a sitcom.
Finally,
He'd said.
the mouse shows her claws.
You'd stood in front of him flexing your fingers in your pockets. You'd been tempted to correct the idiom and say,
Do you mean roars? The mouse roars. She never shows her claws.
you hadn't. You'd stood silently, frozen by indecision. Should you apologise for the pillow throw or return to the argument? You'd decided on the argument. You tried to keep your voice level and friendly.
I'm sorry about the cows,
You'd said.
but I don't want to eat vegan cheese. If you want to eat vegan cheese, that's fine. It just doesn't taste like cheese.
He'd looked at you intently, given you a tiny teeth smile, picked up the cat and the TV remote and walked out the door. You were unaware that those were the last words you would say to his face.
It just doesn't taste like cheese.
You had sat on the couch waiting for him to return. After an hour, when the room had darkened, you'd called him. No reply. You'd called every hour on the hour until midnight. His voicemail opened with an intimate hi that sounded like he'd picked up and was happy you'd rung. Your heart was lifted and dumped 8 times. You had rehearsed conversations in which you'd explained why his behaviour was childish and he'd apologised. You'd rehearsed conversations where he'd explained why your behaviour was childish and you'd apologised. If he would just pick up, you'd tell him you were fine with vegan cheese and you had a deep respect for cows. He didn't pick up. After a few days, he had re-established communication through his friend Anton. Anton was very fit. It appeared he maintained this fitness by regularly bounding up your stairs to retrieve some item the hipster claimed was his. Last time it was the coffee table.
I think that's mine.
You'd said to Anton.
Hey, buddy,
He'd said,
I'm just the removalist.
swinging the table effortlessly onto his back. You'd opened your mouth to restate your claim when, to your utter shame, you'd begun to cry.
Why did he leave me, Anton?
You'd sobbed.
You're his friend. He must talk to you about me. Why did he leave me? What did I do wrong? He won't talk to me. Is he coming back? Tell him I'm fine with the vegan cheese.
Anton had stood there frozen like Atlas with the wrong prop. This was understandable. Anton, having spent years staring at his pectoralis major, surrounded by perfectly formed tiny lunging women with devastating eyelashes, was ill-equipped to deal with you. You were another beast entirely. You'd stood there hiccuping, unbrushed hair like a male 80s rocker, trying to stop yourself from crying by pressing your fingers into your eye sockets. You were not in possession of long, camel-like eyelashes, so the net effect of the crying and the pressing was that you looked like a mole in shock.
I don't know, buddy.
He'd ventured.
I think maybe the relationship was a bit toxic or not on the path or road or not your best self or something or...
The explanation petered out and you stood looking at each other.
Right.
You'd said, pulling an old tissue out of your pocket.
Okay. Well, can you ask him why he took the washing machine and dryer? Those were mine. Also, why did he take the remote? It's not universal. It only works with my TV. I mean, did he mean to or was it accidental?
You'd loudly blown your nose and returned the tissue to your pocket.
I sort of need it. Unless he took it because he's coming back.
You'd finished hopefully.
Ah, okay. So he took the remote.
Said Anton, backing deftly through the door with the table.
Well, buddy,
He continued.
having to get up from the couch to change the channel is a bit of incidental exercise for you. He's done you a favour. Maybe think about doing some lunges on the way across the floor.
He'd demonstrated a couple of perfect lunges across the landing. You still haven't bought another remote. You have to stand up physically, walk to the TV and fiddle with the buttons. The cat on your lap dislikes being disturbed. You move across the room with her clinging to your arm like a sloth on a branch. You tramp back up the stairs, put the gratitude meditation cushion on the floor and sit on it. You can feel garden grit through your skirt. You accept the discomfort as a test of your focus of the job at hand. You're going to outdo Rebecca from the real estate with your universe recruiting technique. She doesn't know who she's dealing with. You go for the direct approach. You speak aloud for extra universe engagement.
Dear universe, kindly give me back the hipster. Love, Cat.
You lose confidence halfway through the statement. You're not sure if this is the tone you should be taking with the universe. You may have subconsciously adopted the imperious attitude of the cat. You go for a more consultative style.
Look, universe, he wasn't perfect. But as he said, neither am I. Yes, he had a temper, but as he said, I had difficulties expressing myself, so he was bound to lose patience with me. Maybe Thobra Khan was right. We attract someone to help us learn a lesson about ourselves. So, universe, while we're chatting, is this what I'm meant to learn? That the hipster was a reflection of my own unowned anger? But also, universe, he was super food fussy and I'm not. So what's that about? How am I reflected in that? Or is he reflected in me? Am I the part of him that loves dairy and sugar?
You're tired now. You feel judged by the cat. The whole meditating thing could be too indirect. Also, what are you doing going to a bidding war in the universal realm with Rebecca from the real estate? It's undignified. If she wants him, she can have him. Even though he's really funny, good-looking and highly creative, he's also clearly disloyal and there is the temper thing, though in all fairness, you probably pushed him to it by being so indecisive. Your phone is next to you on the floor. You pick it up. You scroll through your contacts. It stops on his number. It's a sign from the universe. Ring him. Just be upfront. Say, Rebecca from the real estate looks like a cat hater and also you saw the remnants of a hamburger on her desk once, so how's that going to work? No. Don't humiliate yourself. You remove your thumb from the number. Anyway, you shouldn't want. You should be grateful. Maybe he's done you a huge favour. Maybe your soulmate is just around the corner. You don't care. You can't stand it. You just want him back. You have to call him. Do not call him. Don't wait for him to call you. You reopen your computer, back to Facebook to distract yourself. Find yourself back at Rebecca from the real estate's page. A thin, barefoot girl in rolled-up jeans stands on a jetty looking out over a misty lake. Life is 90% what happens to you and 10% how you handle it, the caption reads. Actually, you misread it. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you handle it. Well, Rebecca from the real estate's 10% includes procuring the hipster and yours includes forfeiting him, so it seems the 90% is weighted in her direction. Chuck out any cats which aren't yours and go down to the bottle shop. You may have made that up. You look up. The cat hasn't moved. She's probably nailed mindfulness. You shut the computer. You pick up the phone. You grab a pillow and scream into it to stop yourself from ringing him. This startles the cat out of her mindful state. You feel pleased. The phone rings. You're so primed it sends a shockwave through your hand. It's his ringtone. Hope and anxiety jostle for primacy in your chest. Has the universe heard you? He's calling to say sorry. Or maybe he's not. You're holding the phone tightly in your hand like it's a grenade, and if you release the pin, it will go off. Answer it. Don't answer it. Let him ring a few more times. You will your thumb to hit decline. Play hard to get. You pick up. You say nothing.
Hello?
He says. A pause.
Hello? Cat?
You're like a reverse heavy breather.
Cat, I just want to know if the cat's there.
Postmodern wanker never named the cat. The call's about the cat, not you. Your heart is beating so loudly you're fearful he might hear it. Why did you pick up? Why? You feel sick with disappointment.
Cat, is the cat there?
The cat leaps off the couch and disappears out the window.
No.
You say. Your thumb hits end. You throw yourself onto the couch. You have to accept. Accept that he's seeing Rebecca from the real estate. Accept that you'd come home early a month ago and she'd emerged from a bedroom mould inspection with him in tow. Accept your own naivety. Accept that he was bored with you. Accept you're not hot. Accept you were too pathetic to ask him why he took the remote. Accept that you were unable to keep him. Accept that he's more interested in the cat than you. But you have an overwhelming desire to ring him back and admit that the cat is here. Tell him to come and get her. Stay the night. The gargantuan effort of restraining yourself exhausts you. You go to the window, put the phone outside on the ledge, lock the window, go to the laundry and hide the key from yourself. There's a flaw in this plan, but your stress levels are so high you can't identify what it is. You go back to the window to stare at the phone through the glass. The cat appears through the gloom and sits on the outside ledge next to the phone. Doesn't meow, however, looks plaintively over her shoulder, contemplating her return to him. "Please," you mouth through the window. "Wait there, I'll get the key." You trudge back down the hall, past the Deepak Chopra poster, formulating a plan as you walk. You'll buy her chicken, then she'll stay. Stop asking the universe for things. It doesn't care about you. Scroll through any social media news feed and you'll see the same self-help sentiments repeated over and over again. Live your best life. Free your mind to control your destiny. No dream is too big. Abundance is yours. You are a warrior woman. You deserve your own line and cave. I may have made that up. The problem with these sayings is, as pretty as they are, their actual meaning is unclear. As we have seen already, if we really want to improve the quality of our lives across all contexts, we need to identify the cognitive flaws in our thinking. It's actually the key to any positive life change. But this key is ordinary, plain brass. It's not jewel-encrusted or endorsed by a celebrity who's offering their own line of GMO-free probiotics so you can lead your best life. Some of the principles promoted by the self-help industry are at their core extremely valuable. If applied properly, they can help people lead better lives. However, they are often co-opted by unhappy people to justify staying in situations that are damaging to them. Also, a lot of self-help principles are total rubbish. So let's look at how our brain glitches allow us to adopt philosophies that are unhelpful to our current situation. The universe and more magical thinking. Cat's going through a breakup, and the whole miserable business is exacerbated by cognitive traps. Similar to the situation of hiring Lisa, her brain is leading her to make poor decisions. Her brain, like ours, is susceptible to dodgy ideas. Kat's magical thinking has latched even more firmly onto the concept of the universe. Sitting in the aftermath of the breakup, she searches pointlessly for a lesson the universe might give her, and desperately tries to plug into the universe's wish-granting powers. None of this is helpful. It can skew your thinking, doing more harm than good. The universe doesn't care about you. It doesn't plan life lessons for you. It will not give you what you want just because you've been thinking about it really hard. We like to think the universe is something we can have a relationship with, that there's a special mystical undercurrent that can affect our lives. And there are so many reasons why people believe this. Sometimes things happen because you got lucky or unlucky. End of story. We are social animals. The first reason people believe in the agency of the universe concept is that a whole lot of other people believe in it too. We are influenced by those around us. We're social animals. Also, the simple act of understanding something makes us more likely to believe it. It's why people believe so many things that stretch credibility. We can also develop a sense of belonging to a community based on shared ideas and ideology, which can harden those beliefs. So, if someone has a lot of followers who talk about the power of the universe, then there's a collective inference that they're speaking the truth. The underlying appeal of it, though, is that it can be really reassuring. There's a comforting notion that something is looking out for you. No matter how bad it gets, you're never alone. Second, it provides meaning when bad things happen. The idea that bad things can just happen for no reason is an unpalatable notion. There's no safety or encouragement in it. Believing that things happen for a reason, however, is much more soothing. Thinking that bad things happen to teach you a lesson that the universe has planned for you is fundamentally reassuring. It gives you a sense of order in chaos, a sense of control over your life. A lot of this is subconscious. We don't start to believe in the universe or other implausible concepts because we consciously think they'll reassure us. It's under the surface. More patternicity and confirmation bias. There are other flaws in our cognition that help us believe in the power of the universe. The first three of these were covered in the previous chapter: magical thinking, patternicity, and confirmation bias. Magical thinking is where we believe that our internal world can affect the external world. and that we can magically influence the universe with our positive thinking. Patternicity, where we see patterns in unrelated things, means we think we see lessons the universe has planned for us, when they're actually just random, unrelated events happening. For example, we might think, I'm going to start thinking positively, which will mean I'm going to manifest more good things in my life. And then we find $20 on the ground the next day and link the two. In actuality, it was complete luck. The idea of manifesting something by thinking about it is nonsense. Confirmation bias, the third cognitive flaw, makes us hyper-focus on this time, but forget the other 15 times when we thought the same thing and nothing good happened. Put the 3 flaws together and we think we can see the universe at work. A new thing, hyperactive agency detection, HAD. We also have a natural tendency to ascribe agency. When things happen, we have an instinctive tendency to think something has caused it, that there is something making things happen, that there is an intentional agent. If we hear a metal gate creak open, our typical first reaction is someone opened it, rather than it opened in the wind. This is another throwback to a dim, distant past. When there was a rustling in the bushes, it was safer to assume it was a lion than the wind. We therefore break things into 2 categories subconsciously: things that are alive as opposed to things that are not alive. We're not talking biologically here. We're talking about something having sentience or a mind of its own. In other words, when something happens, we think something intentionally made it so. We ascribe agency to the universe in the same way. We think it can influence our lives. As reassuring as this notion is, you will make far better decisions and leave damaging relationships and situations much sooner if you unclutter your thinking and look the situation square in the face. Argument from authority and charismatic people. The cherry on top is that the human brain has a propensity to believe other charismatic, powerful humans. It's called argument from authority. Studies have found that we are more likely to agree to and believe something, even if it's wrong, if the argument is presented by someone who is authoritative and charismatic. When we're in the thrall of a charismatic person, we literally suspend our critical thinking. Our social media feeds are littered with charismatic gurus and clueless celebrities mouthing simplistic, inspiring maxims that will apparently turn our lives around. The halo effect. Our propensity to trust celebrities is extremely problematic. It's the byproduct of the halo effect where, because we respect or like someone in one context, we infer capability on them in another. For example, think of an actress or model who we admire setting up shop on the internet and selling us vitamins or crystals. There's no shortage of charismatic, famous people keen to promote their extremely dubious philosophies and products. These products often have, at their core, some gussied-up psychological or spiritual notions, aided by some sciencey-sounding words. If the sciencey words hint at physics, or even better, quantum physics, and give a general nod towards the concept of consciousness, the brain will be high-fiving itself for finding its way to the promised land of a fulfilled life. Crystals are pretty, but they're just rocks. They offer no healing benefits. Why does it matter if people believe in this stuff? Well, while it might be comforting in a difficult situation to believe that the challenges you're experiencing are part of the universe's great plan, or that meditating on a crystal will improve your fortune, it diverts your brain away from constructive problem solving. Kat isn't thinking about the future. Her brain is caught up in trying to figure out what lessons the universe has planned for her. She's trying to put the pieces together of a puzzle that doesn't exist, focusing and ultimately bargaining with an imaginary force. Worse though, it also clouds Kat's understanding of the situation and people involved. She should be looking at the situation with the hipster realistically, focusing on the reality of his behaviour. She should be asking whether he was kind to her, whether he was loving, supportive and encouraging, whether there was equality in the relationship. She should be looking at whether there was a pattern to how he acted. She should be allowing herself to feel betrayed by his infidelity. Instead, it's all framed in terms of inspirational slogans. She can't see the situation clearly because all her magical thinking is getting in the way. It's clouding her judgment. She makes poor choices because of it. Long term, the bad choices accumulate, and before she knows it, 10 years of her life will have passed by with her skewed intuitions running the show. Her rational brain so rarely gets a look in. The gratitude and acceptance movement. Kat is looking at her situation through a lens of gratitude and acceptance. I should be grateful, and I must accept my reality. This can be an immensely harmful way to look at things. The self-help message around gratitude and acceptance is often aimed at women like Kat. It's not news that a lot of women struggle to assert power in relationships. Many women have been pushed by their life circumstances into behaving in a submissive way. Is there anything more convenient to a submissive woman than the notion of acceptance, or the idea that wanting more is an expression of ingratitude? Add to this the unsubstantiated notion that the traits you dislike in another person represent unowned parts of yourself, and you're in some deeply unhelpful territory. If you're in a relationship with another person, whether intimate, friendship or work, and an issue arises, there'll be something in the relationship dynamic contributing to the drama. But that doesn't mean the behaviour of the other person is an unowned part of yourself. That's unhelpful, simplistic, and possibly dangerous. It's just another way to somehow make submissive people feel responsible for others' behaviour. You don't have to accept or feel grateful for every situation in your life. If you want, you can get the hell out of there. If the other person is narcissistic, selfish or lazy, then you have every right to say, "This is your stuff, not mine. See you later, buddy." Kat's appreciation of the hipster's true nature is clouded by her ongoing negotiations with the universe. Yes, some people need to put their grateful hat on before they launch their whinging selves into the day and create misery for their colleagues. If you have everything and nothing's ever good enough, this is not your narrative. Stop reading it and go and help a homeless person. But if you're familiar with the notion of putting up with crappy behaviour and turning yourself inside out to be grateful, then read on. Be grateful. Sometimes. The gratitude movement invites you to focus on the good things in your life and be grateful for them, rather than ruminating on the things that are not going your way. The notion of acceptance is complicated. In psychological terms, it's the idea of recognising your current reality and accepting it. According to Jon Kabat-Zinn, acceptance doesn't mean passive resignation. He says, "It takes a huge amount of fortitude and motivation to accept what is, especially when you don't like it, and then work wisely and effectively as best you possibly can with the circumstances you find yourself in to mitigate, heal, redirect, and change what can be changed." This sounds constructive, and it is. The premises of gratitude and acceptance are extremely worthy. Psychological researcher Professor Laurie Santos tells us having a gratitude practice is correlated with increased happiness and life satisfaction. However, the notions of gratitude and acceptance can be misconstrued, and it's then that they can become problematic. Being grateful for positive things in your life that you may be taking for granted is a worthy goal. However, trying to be grateful and accepting of things that are a blight in your life, not so much. If you're a bit on the submissive side or frightened of conflict, the idea of gratitude or acceptance provides a rationale for further submission. If your brain gets a whiff of a free pass on avoiding conflict by calling it acceptance, you get to appear as if you're holding the high moral ground, instead of being unable to hold your ground at all. It's easy to misconstrue the maxim and just accept all behaviours. Particularly manipulative individuals can also misuse the principle and turn it back on other people. The notion of acceptance can become a tool to excuse harmful, hurtful, and abusive behaviours. In his excellent book, The Murder of Alison Baden-Clay, David Murray noted that when police inspected Alison Baden-Clay's home after she'd been murdered by her husband, they found a gratitude diary in which she'd written about all the things she should be grateful for in her life. This, while she was living with an abusive and finally murderous man. It's a perfect illustration of the misuse of a reasonable philosophy. If your emotionally abusive partner has you convinced that it's not him or her, it's you, and you take a dive into the acceptance grateful bucket, you're going to be inclined to justify their bad behaviour. In this way, the gratitude movement and acceptance principle are adopted as a mechanism for people to feel like they are in control. In a situation where someone feels powerless, the thing they can control is their own attitude, so they choose to be grateful, to accept. It makes them feel like they are shaping their own life. But it's only an illusion of power, and while they might feel in control, this false power can serve to do the opposite. It traps people. If you're thinking to yourself, I've never even heard of this notion of acceptance or this gratitude ideology, you'll still be susceptible to all sorts of theories and premises that need to be applied with care. Every time you go online and get hooked by a reasonable-sounding premise around diet, health, spirituality, politics, wealth creation, anything really, stop and ask yourself, does it just sound valid? Are they using language that just infers credibility, or does it actually have value? Approach all offers, ideas and theories with skepticism. Remember, we humans have a cognitive tendency to believe something merely because we understand it. So, if something simply sounds like it makes sense, beware. Getting smarter. The universe doesn't care. It doesn't plan lessons for us, and it's not something we can magically influence with positive thinking. We have an inbuilt vulnerability to thinking the universe, or something bigger than us, might care because of a set of brain glitches, but it doesn't. And thinking it does can scramble our judgment, making us unhappy and confused. Worse, it stops us from actually dealing with our problems. And if you bring it together with the gratitude movement and acceptance principle, fine ideas on their own, it can help prop up harmful and abusive relationships and behaviours. The question should not be, what is this situation trying to teach me, but what am I going to do about this situation? We need to use our intellect, not have it relegated to the back seat in favour of our instinct and some vague notion of what the universe wants. In trying to work out what the universe wants, we'll probably lean into our subconscious bias anyway and call it our intuition. We need to be supported in honing our ability to make judgments about what we're told and to build constructively on our own strengths. We need to discern, evaluate and learn to apply critical thinking to whatever the situation is. Seriously, we do. Get your thoughts straight. The too willing student. Are you assuming the current situation is trying to teach you a lesson? If so, remember it's not. The star factor. Are you buying products or buying into philosophies because the person selling them sounds authoritative or because they're famous in another context? Stop it. Sounds like science. Are you buying products that have sciencey sounding words attached to them without proof of their efficacy? If so, stop buying them. The deity delusion. Are you ascribing power to a hidden source? The gratitude trap. Are you trying to put a positive spin on something or turn yourself inside out to be grateful for something when actually you need to be taking action on the situation? End of Chapter 2. Thanks for tuning in to Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.